Alrighty, hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. I think it's part 11 now we're working on. So what I wanted to go over in this video was giving damage to the weapon. We're almost there. We're now starting to code the player items finally. So I wanted to start with the sword. We'll still have to make the staff, but we'll start with the sword. So what we have in there is we have the mana cost, we have stamina cost, and then we have damage. So what I'm just doing right now is I'm just adding those three values to the game. So I just added the weapon damage. And this one here is going to be mana cost. And this one here is going to be stamina cost. Alright, and then we need to change this to just mana cost. Change this one to stamina cost. And that's it. Stamina cost. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to take this and we need two more of them. Yeah, and this one will be data mana cost. Data mana cost. Data mana cost. And this will be data stamina cost. Same with this one here. Alright, and now we need to change the value, and we need to create a variable. So this could be mana cost, and this could be stamina cost. Right, because now that we've created the number and the variable, we're now able to customize this number, or we're now able to let the player customize that number. So, one is mana cost. And one is stamina cost. See, I copy and paste it because I've got two A's there. And this way I know it's the value. Everything else doesn't necessarily matter. Oh, this has to be 1A, not 2. There we go. There we go. Alright, so we can say stamina. Now eventually I'll get rid of all these printed values, and I'll silence them. It's just right now while I'm still developing the game, it's nice to know what loads. Because if I break something and this doesn't load, it's going to start giving me errors, and then that way I'll be able to follow the errors and figure out where it is. So that is how we're going to handle the weapon. We have three values. We have the weapon damage, the mana cost, and the stamina cost. Now on the weapon, it has two functions. One when we equip the item, and one when we activate the item. When we activate the item, it costs us stamina, and it plays the animation, the swing animation. So when we equip it, it changes the name of it gives our name to the player name. But what we also want it to do is right here, it assigns the damage value to the weapon. So what we also want to do is we need to say script.parent.mana cost .value equals, and then we need to say game get service players, and then we need to say find first child players.name, and then we want to say find first child cares CHARST. Is that right? Care stats. Mana cost value. Then it's going to load that integer when we equip the weapon. And then what we also need to do is we need to have the stamina cost. Alright, so we have the stamina cost. So they don't have any assigned values right now. So if we play the game, they should be 0. When I equip the weapon, we just let it load. That'll be game stats, no character stats. We have weapon damage is 0, stamina cost is 0, and mana cost. So if I it's giving me an error already. Line 37. So we need to change this. We need to say players equals script.parent player name value, and that has to be after it's been assigned to the value. So there could be a little bit of latency here, just to make sure it reads it properly. Argument missing 1 or nil. Let's see if that helps. Aha, it did something. So now if we swing the weapon, once we have enough stamina, well, I can't swing it yet. There, as you can see, it costs nothing, and if I try and defeat this NPC, well, it did do damage to him. Right, because it's still, yeah, it does. That's interesting. Huh. Interesting. Okay, so what happens here? What happens here? Oh, when I hit, I still turn the elemental damage to true. Right, and I haven't... Okay, so what happens is, now that we don't have a damage value, so you saw there that it wasn't working. So now that damage value is supposed to be changed to this folder, but this folder isn't inside the NPC. So inside the NPC, in here, I have to add... I may as well add all this. I wonder what I don't need. Let's see. Let's just paste it into. Let's just make a big mess. There we go. Now I've made a big mess. Now I've made a big mess. Okay, so we have the loot script. So we have 2 hit scripts. So this one here is probably identical to this one here, and it is. Okay, except this one has damage on it. So we're going to get rid of this script here because this one references the damage value, that there. Okay, so then what's going to happen is, yeah, now it should do 0 damage. Yeah, it's doing 0 damage now. Oh, I can't swing it yet because I don't have enough stamina. Oh, I'm gonna have to change that as well. The position save in the bot. Whoa. Yeah, see, I'm not doing any damage. But the enemy isn't doing any damage to me either. I kind of like it. So, why isn't the enemy doing any damage? Now, damage script. One of these is position save. That's the regen script. We don't need that. And then the regen script. We don't need that. Alright, so if I get rid of all these duplicates, now we kind of... The damage script, we don't need that anymore because we have the hit script. And then we have our elemental and the loot script. Okay, so when we get hit, it should, when the weapon hits the NPC, it should transfer that value. Over here, it should say, because this elemental damage folder is inside here, so just say hit dot parent dot, oh, it's already there, dot elemental damage. So instead of hit dot value will equal true, what we also want to do is copy that. We want to say dot damage dot value VALUE equals script dot parent dot damage dot value. There we go. So when this hit script turns on, it's going to read this value here. So now we should do 0 damage to the NPC. Now the NPC should be doing damage to me. If it doesn't, I'm not too sure why. Oh, it might be because I've modified the scripts a little bit. Oh yeah, and I can't. Well, if it can't do any damage to me, Yeah, you see? I can't do any damage because there is no value. Now, why is the NPC unable to do damage to me? If I look at the classic sword that they have, it is supposed to turn elemental damage .hit .value equals true on the player. So then, if we take our hit script, oh, I see. This one I changed. Okay, this one I changed. So, this is where we can say, okay, the monsters have a preset value when they attack the player, but the player is able to change the damage they deal to the monsters, right? Because this hit script here on the player deals when we get hit, and, oh no, this is on the enemy. This is on the enemy. What am I doing there? We want in the replicated storage the hit script. Yes. So this is where we need to say, okay, when we get hit by the NPC, it does 10 damage to us 3 times, so we take 30 damage in total. So now the NPC will be able to damage us, but we're not going to be able to damage the NPC. There, you see? it's now damaging us. So that's how we want to set this up. Same with like the earth damage. You see how I still kept the values? That's why we want to keep the values. We'll tweak them. And you can even add into this folder if they're up against a boss, like whatever. We'll try and customize that a little bit for stronger enemies. They'll do different types of damage, blah, blah, blah. But you get the gist of it. So this is for when we do damage to the zombie. So script.parent.damage.value. And then, right, same with the fire damage. Will be script.parent, let's see, .damage.value. Poison damage, script.parent, .damage.value, and wind damage, script.parent.damage.value. All right. So we may add one more integer on there, and it might be like, yeah, we probably need to. Elemental. So in the weapon, there needs to be insert object number, another number value, and this needs to be elemental. All right, so when we equip it, let's see, under player added, we need to create this value. And we will call it elemental. Now this is we need this for when we make the staff. So we need this integer anyway. So that will come into play here, where we say data elemental, data elemental, data elemental, and we can say elemental damage. And this here is elemental.value. Yep, and so now in here we can copy this. And instead of stamina cost, it's going to be elemental damage. elemental damage, and then script up parent dot damage element. That way we're not confused. Script dot parent dot script. Oh, script dot parent dot elemental. Yes, and then inside here we have damage element, and then we'll copy that. And then that way, when we're giving damage to the player, we can assign this damage. And when we want to give additional damage to the player, we can do that here. And if we want to give the same damage to the NPCs, we need to have those values in the folder for the NPCs. So when it comes to earth damage, in here it'll be damage element dot value. So, and what we do for that is, similarly, when the sword strikes, it says hit dot parent dot elemental damage dot damage element dot value equals script dot parent dot elemental dot value. Right there. There we go. So now we're able to assign these values to the player. We're able to save these values, and we're able to cast these values into the game so we can use them in some sort of way. Perfect. So then that means that when the player gets hit on the player side for earth damage, we need to say script.parent.damage element. And for fire damage, it'll be the same thing. Script.parent.damage element. Poison. Script.parent.damage element. Oh, dot value. Dot value. Script.parent.damage element dot value. There we go. So now that we have all the values set up, all right. So then what we need is nothing else, because then we can just cast the value. Which value is it? Fire damage? Okay. So if it's fire damage, what is the damage that's being dealt? Well, either it's taking that value from the sword, or it's going to take that value from a block. Whatever. That's the awesome thing about that. So now it has elemental damage value. So what we can do now is, now we need a way for the player to forge this weapon and to have this weapon saved on the player, and then to have these values saved. So now essentially think of what we have now is this. We have a sword, and the player is able to activate prompts, which then will allow the player to change the stats on the sword. It'll change the damage it does and the elemental damage that the weapon does. I think that's pretty cool. So then when it comes to the shield, it's going to have the resistances in there. And I think that's all we'll need to do. The cape and the hat This is going to be regeneration, so maybe we'll have values there for regeneration, and this is going to be bonuses to your attributes. So from here, it's just a matter of doing this 3 more times, and then I think we'll have a decent little, then we'll need to build the forge, so to speak. There might even be one. Let's see. Not looking so promising so far. There's an anvil. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so now we have this like forge thingy. Cool, it's got no scripts or nothing. No, that's cool. Alright. So what we can do in here is we can insert a prompt, right? We can insert object, an attachment. And then this way we can move the attachment up like this and out. And then in here we can go insert object, a proximity prompt. Whoa. All right, and then this is our give weapon. Now, we can do all kinds of stuff here. So we can go insert object. We're going to insert a script. This is going to be our weapon forge script. So we just need a couple of things. Local button equals script dot parent dot parent dot proximity prompt. Oh, script dot parent dot give weapon. So button dot trigger ended connect function. And we need the player from there. Okay, so now what we can do, we need to connect this to a data store. So we'll do that. Now that it's connected to the data store, we can now give these values. So let's this one. Yeah. So we need to do this. Let's see. We need to give a value, but in this case, it's going to be player dot character stats. Let's say weapon damage. Weapon damage dot value. All right. So that is going to equal. Now what we need to do is we need to take this sword. We need to duplicate it, and we need to drag it into. Do we need to do that? Yeah, we need to drag it into the forge. All right. So this is going to equal the stats that are on the sword. And then what we're going to do, I'm just kind of thinking here. So we can either do this one of two ways. We can make a random number generator, which randomly creates small values for this. The stamina cost, the mana cost, the elemental damage, and the damage. I think that might be the best way to go about this. And then it's going to clone that sword to the player. and then when it clones the sword to the player, it'll then save these values into the players. So when the player joins the game, those values are going to be cast to the sword. That's the loop that we're trying to create here. So I know it's a little all over the place, and that's why it's a little all over the place, because we need to create the elements first, and then we need to link them all together. So sometimes it can be difficult trying to create the element and then building the link, you know, because you might omit something or forget something. And sometimes we have to see all three links in order to know how to connect them together. So that's why sometimes these tutorials can be a little bit back and forth. So we have player.gamestats.weapondamage.value. So we have the weapon damage. What else do we need? We need the mana cost, stamina cost, and elements. We need 4 of these, right? So before we do this, let's do this 4 times. So copy, 2, 3, 4, and then we have weapon damage. Oh, this is the wrong script. It should be in here. Let's see. That's okay. The script didn't matter. Copy. 1, 2, 3, 4. Weapon damage. Let's see. Mana cost. Yeah, we're working on this one. Alright, so there's the mana cost. Stamina cost. And the elemental damage. Alright, so this all has to equal stuff. So this is going to equal, where are we here? Show and Explorer. Script.parent.sword. Script.parent. Sword. Dot damage. Dot value. There we go. Equals script. No, we have to give it these values. So let me think about it. First we need to create the values, then we need to give the values. Okay, so let's just continue on here. Script.parent dot sword dot mana cost dot value, and then we're going to say script.parent dot sword dot stamina cost dot value, and then we're going to say script.parent dot sword dot elemental dot value. Okay, so that is we're going to assign. So before we do that, we need to create them. So we could say weapon damage dot value equals math dot random, and we could be a random number between 1 and 10. So this won't actually work. Let's see. No, what we need to do here is, oh, this is a little bit confusing. Sword damage dot value needs to equal math dot random 10. There we go. So we could just set these values right away here. Yeah, this is what we got to do. Because these are the actual values. These are the number values that we can change. All right, equals, 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 same thing, math. Dot random 10, math, dot random 10, math, dot random 10. So we got that, 10 and 10. So then what we could do is math.random, math.random, okay. So let's test this out and see if it actually casts these values to the sword that's in there. Oh, something happened. Oh, oh yeah. I've been helping him out, and I feel kind of bad because he's like, help me, and I'm like, sure. And I just a little bit of time, and that's it. I'm real sorry. I'm real sorry. I'll join him here in a minute. Okay, so what was the error that he gave me here? Oh, this error here, and that's it. Okay, we don't care about that. That doesn't matter. All right. So we'll take this here, and I got a whole bunch of errors here. Now it says, okay, I wonder, oh, sword. Aha. So this kind of needs to be like underground, I guess. Let's see. Oh. I wonder if it's can't collide false and it just fell through the planet. Yeah, that's probably what's happening here. The handle. Yeah, there we go, and we'll do that. Now it should work. Okay, so now if we look at the forge, I wonder where this, if we'll get lucky. Yeah, we got lucky. There's the sword there. So now, oh, look, it did. It assigned some random numbers. Awesome, awesome. Okay, so it assigns those random numbers to the weapon. Now what we can do, now we want to save these random numbers. We can say equals so we can wait a split second for it to populate, and then what do we need? We'll copy this. We need 2, 3, 4 game stats dot now we gotta go through this all over again here. Where are we? Player added dot mana cost. Mana cost. Stamina cost. Come on, you can do it. And elemental damage. All right, so this will be this one here. All right. So now, no, these need to be reversed. These need to be reversed. It needs to be like this. Or we need to say it equals this plus that. That's right. Otherwise, it's not gonna. It won't work. It won't work. We have to add the value to it. We can't just change the value. If we just change the value, it's just going to say the changed value. But if we take the value it already has, and then we add more value to it, the code likes that a lot better. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to get a pcall function that we can now change and save these new values. Okay, so we'll say data weapon damage. Data weapon damage. Data weapon damage equals that and that, and then we need the pcall here for the weapon damage. And now, if everything works out, it should generate the weapon damage. It will change that, it'll generate the value, it'll save the value, then it'll clone the sword to the player with those values on the sword. That's the idea here. And then the player always has the sword, quote unquote, which will add a value to check to see if they have it. And then every time they join the game, that sword will be cloned to the player, and it will have the stats that we load from the player. So it's really easy at this point in time. It's really simple. It's really simple. And we could say weapon damage loaded, and in that way when we use the forge, it'll spam this message when we use it, and we'll be able to check to make sure that everything goes through properly. 2, 3, 4. We just have to do this 3 more times, unfortunately. So we have weapon damage, we have mana cost. Alright, mana cost. Here, I'll reset this one more time, and this will be the last playthrough. Data, mana cost, and that is going to equal number 2. Alright, and then stamina cost. Whew, you're watching it. You are watching it now. Alright, and the last one is elemental. Now we can take this script and we can copy it, and we can use it anywhere to change these values. And then we need this. And this, and then I just need the, okay, so for elemental damage, We need this for elemental damage. And the next one is stamina cost. And then the next one is mana cost. There it is. It is set up. Now, the last thing we need to do, once it's saved and it's gone through the P calls, we want to wait, and then we want to say script.parent .sword clone.parent equals player.backpack. There we go. So now what it should do is it should randomly generate the values, it should save those values to the player, and it should clone this sword to our backpack. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this sword here, and I'm going to put it in the server storage, just in case something happens. And I'm actually going to take the potions out as well. Seeing as how we're not using them right now. Alright, now let's test what we've just created. So if I... Oh, really? Weapon damage is not... Where's my player at? Oh no, it's character stats. My bad, my bad. It could even be another folder. It could be its own folder, weapon, whatever. You know, you can always get creative. As you see, it takes time. So just take your time. And you can hash out a quality product here. Okay, let's see if that is going to work. So there was an error with my data, probably because it's all game stats and not character stats. So the last thing we'll need to do is create an integer, a value for this base weapon. And that'll save on the data save. It'll be like base weapon, whatever the number is, and then we'll figure that out. So that's going to be sort of the last part here. Oh, look at that. It loaded everything onto the weapon. So now if we take a look at the weapon on the player, we will see that it has random values. Ooh, that's a pretty average weapon. It does lots of damage too. So there you go. So now we have our forge, which makes us a custom weapon that we can now use in the game, which will deal custom damage to the enemies. So thank you so much for watching, liking, and subscribing. This is number 11 or 12. I guess we'll call this one still setting up the weapons. But now we are ready. What's the next step here? We've made the damage now. We've saved the damage. The last thing we really need to do is we need to create an integer for this weapon. So it could just be like, here, we'll just do it right here. And we're just going to call it, instead of elemental, it'll be has base weapon. And it could even be a bool. Doesn't have to be right, it could be a bool value. Can it be a bool value? No, it's better if it's a number value because then we can save it. And it's gonna be has base. And then this way we can do different tiers of weapons, and we can do different damage values for the different tiers of weapons, and then we can just track them. Because basically how this is gonna work is that you have a basic weapon, you'll be able to add to the base stats that you have, but only to a certain degree. And then you'll need to upgrade to another weapon. And then you'll be able to upgrade that even better, right? Getting better quality, so on and so forth. So we can develop that into the game. Right now, we're just setting up the basic gameplay. So we don't necessarily need that complexity right away. But we will start by giving it a value. And then in this case, it'll be the base weapon. Let me see. Sword and shield, this will be has base weapon. Has base weapon, and then this will be data base weapon. Data base weapon, and then data base weapon, and this will be what did I call it here? Has weapon base. So that value, whatever that value is going to be, we need to now assign it when the player uses the forge. So when the player uses the forge, before it's cloned to the player, what we then need to do is we need to change this value. So we need to change this value. But instead of weapon damage, it's going to be has base. And that's going to equal, we could just assign this a number. It doesn't have to be a random number. Okay, so that's the number. I guess if it doesn't have a number, we would have to give it a number. Let's see if this works. Let's see if it gives that number to has base dot value. Let's see if we have that, all that stuff. Player, character stats, has base is right there. Yes, so it gives us that unique ID. Okay, so then what we want to do is we want to save that unique ID. That's all. So we say data has base, and then we say data has base, data has base, and then what we need is to go down here. Has base weapon, and it is going to be this value here. Okay, so now, and it will say base weapon saved. And you're only going to be able to do this once. So, because the first thing it's going to do, it's going to check if let's see, if no, we don't want to do that. We want to say if it equals that. And then down here we can say, alright, so it will, button action text equals, so they'll have to find these forges, right? So then some of them will be base forges, and some of them will be, you know, they'll have to find it. So then, and then if it doesn't, oh, we want to say that. Let's see, we don't want to do that. We want to say that. Okay, so let's try this and see if it's going to work. So it should create base weapon saved, okay. And now if I try and use it, I already have base weapon. Oh, but it gave me one. It lagged, and it keeps giving me one. Okay, so that's a problem. I should do this here. And this here should be like this. Like that, and this should be like this. That way, if you don't have it, it'll run through it and it'll clone it. I think that's right. I think I just I ended the function in the wrong spot. Yeah, see, I already have it. And it didn't clone it to me. So now I have to change the number. We'll put a 7 in there, and I'll have to re-get the number. Oh, there we go. Okay, so now if I try again, oh, it did give me another one. What's going on here? Ooh, maybe that is why. Something's going on here. Something's going on here. It's one of these statements here. If let's see. If we do that and we do that, oh, I see. Because look, there's the value there. Whoops, that explains it. There we go. So now if we have the right number and we check to make sure that we have the right number, everything should be all right. Where are we at anyways? Holy hour, holy moly. All right. Okay, so now it didn't give me anything. Yeah, I have to just make sure because what it does is it creates the weapon and then it saves all the values and then it clones it to the player. So I just have to make sure that that is in there. So perhaps what I should do is one of these functions needs to end here and one of them needs to end down here, but I'm not sure which one. Okay, so that, but then it keeps, why is that? See, it's different. It's different. It's supposed to assign that value, but it's not. But it's also not supposed to go because, all right, I'm gonna have to figure this out. I'm gonna have to figure this out in another time here. Yeah, I just have to. Something's going on here. What, I don't know. Could probably get rid of this part for now, and that is this here and this here. So that, this in itself is the whole expression. So if we said, all right. We could always check to see if the player has a sword. Let's just see if that changes the value. Let's take a step back here and then. All right, so we have a weapon. And it has changed our number to the new number. Okay. So, what we need to say is if, I think we need to say, yeah, if player.character stats. Oh boy. If dot is equal to 0, then perform this whole function. Else script.parent dot, no, we can say button.actionText. Button.actionText equals, already have weapon. Okay, so there we go. So if the value is, so if you've never had the weapon, it should assign it to you, and if it's already assigned you a weapon, perfect. It says that we already have a weapon. So the last thing we need to do here, okay, this is going to be the last little bit here. We just need to clone the weapon to the player. That's all. So when the player is added to the game, under the, in the inventory load script, now we can just do in the player added. Down here at the very bottom where it clones stuff to the player, we can say, if player, let's see, if basically we'll just take that and that's it and put that here. There we go. Then we want to take the sword that we made, we want to duplicate it, and we want to put one in the server storage. And then we're going to put this into a group as a folder, as the player weapons. Okay, now we need to say game, get service, server storage, find first child, player weapons, find first child, sword, and then we'll say clone dot parent equals player dot backpack. All right, so now when I join the game, there we go. And then when I equip the weapon, the values on the weapon should be the random values that I got. Whew. Yeah, look at that. So now why are they so high? Why are they so high on this? When it's equipped, oh, I wonder if the forge, oh yes, you see, it doubled my damage because I already had those values. So now what I'll do on my own time is I'll reset my values and I'll rerun through it, and just to work out any of those bugs. Yeah, because I would have already had the values saved, and then I made another weapon is what happened. I didn't clear the values. So what this should actually do, it should also make these values 0. Oh boy, I guess it doesn't matter. It'll be 0 anyways. If you end up with an OP weapon, it doesn't really matter. So that's how that's going to work. Okay. So in this video, we made the character's forge. We allowed the character can now craft a base weapon. In the next video, what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to duplicate this forge. And one is going to be the upgrade forge. So, and then one is just going to be the give forge. Start a forge, right? So in the upgrade forge, what it will do is it's going to just increase randomly. Yeah, that's what it'll do. Similar to what I just did there. Where are we here? Model. Yes. it'll pretty much do the same thing. And it'll just add those values to the sword and save it. But what we'll have to do is we'll have to lock this upgrade forge into either your level or something like that. So that way you can only use it once. And you can't, you know, we'll have to try something. Anyways, that's going to do it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, liking, and subscribing. And I'll see you all in the next one.